Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
Hey, Michael, what led to the decision to use Brady Mann on the kickoff instead of Jake Elliott?
Yeah, I think, having two guys that have the ability to do kickoffs, it just helps out. It keeps the other team guessing who they're going to put out there. They both have two unique skill sets, but I thought Braden did a great job of neutralizing a great returner in Keyshawn Nixon. We were playing at a little bit higher elevation, so that ball was traveling, and things could change, depending on what we're talking about throughout the week. But we just decided to go with Braden on that week, and it may change this week as we move forward and keep looking at Atlanta. But I thought Braden did an excellent job just being a kickoff guy and neutralizing them, and thought the kickoff team never took the foot off the gas, because you never know when he's going to return it, and you saw it. 27 seconds left, 8 deep, he catches it, and he wants to return it. We got to make sure we give our defense that long field, and they did a really good job of kind of corralling a really dangerous returner.
Packers still found a way to do a squib. Were you surprised by that?
I don't think they were planning on doing that squib. I think it was more Braden Nervison being a little bit nervous and first game jitters, but it worked out in their favor. And I think as time goes on and the seasons change and it gets a little bit colder, that teams will do that. But you are kind of gambling a little bit. You saw in the Arizona-Buffalo game that it didn't get to the 20. You give a potent offense like that the 40-yard line, you're a first down and a half away from field goal. So again, it all depends on who we're playing against, what we're game planning, things of that nature.
And there was caginess in the preseason, obviously. So how excited were you to finally get to see what everybody was doing in week one on the kickoff?
I still think there's some caginess in the first week of the regular season. I think guys still haven't implemented some stuff. There is some stuff from a kickoff standpoint that teams did that we all looked at, and from a kickoff return standpoint, I saw two big returns. I know one went for a touchdown in that Arizona Buffalo game, then the big one happened in that Tennessee-Chicago game, just things of that nature. And, you just talk to people around the league. I'll pick Hightower's brain, working with him for so long, and we don't have to play them this year. But, again, you never know what's going to happen from week 1 to week 2 to week 3. So we just still got to be ready for anything that happens.
Do you think that the kickoffs are going to continue to go out the back of the end zone too, as like a more punitive measure in order, like moving up to the 35? You think teams will continue to kick it off to stop the returns?
Yeah, I think it's all whatever your building's philosophy is. What you think, if you have an elite defense, why, they can still hold them right there and you still get your punt return team going. But again, I think later down in the season, when the weather gets a little bit colder and the ball can't go out, you'll see a little bit more returns. So again, I think everyone's still just trying to feel it out for the first, we've had, technically 5 games for each team. To see this kickoff return, but I think it's gonna be ever evolving and ever changing as we move forward.
Why does the team will fit in kickoff return at least for week 1 in this new rule?
Yeah, I mean, Kenny's a really good running back. Why would you not use a really good running back? Same with Will Shipley, with the vision. They're tough runners. They have great ball security. Why not use them going forward? So I thought, Kenny on that squib, when that ball hits inside that 20-yard line, you can't just allow it to just kind of sit there, go in the back of the end, the ball goes to the 20. And again, we can learn off that. Maybe if it's outside that number, just, get straight north and south and bury your head, and maybe you get out to the 25, 26-yard line in terms of that. And just a lot of it just has to do with decision-making. I think we'll keep getting better at that. But, Kenny, getting the ball in Kenny's hands, you can see how effective he is on that 2-minute drill that he, made 2 to 3 people miss right there. No different than a kickoff return. He's so shifty and great ball security that he does have.
It seems sloppy early on with the flag early, a second. What factored into that?
Yeah, I mean, those are just bad mental mistakes we can't have, especially on special teams, especially around here. We really harp on not having, penalties happen. The one with Keeley, that may have just been first game jitters and he just forgot the rule, I guess. And, he was pretty down on himself, but bring it back up. Then JC is such a smart interior player and such a dangerous guy on field goal block. He's just got to understand that teams are going to try and change up the cadence on him so he doesn't have a great get off and things of that nature. Then again, Tristan, that was a football play. One, we can't have it, but again, you can look at it in a million different ways, agree, disagree with it. They called it, so we just got to clean up our technique on that. But we got to eliminate those penalties because, those 3 penalties are just a solid game from our unit is kind of marred by those 3 penalties.
Footing was an interesting part of how offense and defense have played, but, did it benefit in any way for kickers?
If you ask them, they will give you a whole analysis on what their whole thinking was. because it is tough, plant legs, things of that nature. You slip. You saw Jake slipped on that PAT. Then he had to go in there and kind of revisit his cleats right there. So it goes into it. If you sink on your plant leg on the kickoff, you can hit it high on the ball, and you get that squib unintentionally right there. So there's a lot that goes into it. Those guys are so, precise and perfectionist on their details. They were trying to move around the tee just so they have any footing right there. So a lot goes into the footing going forward, whether it's a sloppy game weather-wise or you're just down in Brazil where it's a soccer field. The soccer fields are naturally wet. They're trying to get the ball to skip. So, again, we just got to be ready for that. I thought they did a good job of understanding that and playing within the elements. Both teams had to play with it.
League-wide, Michael, I think it was 21 at 23 50-yard field goals at one point. Is there something that has – there's so many kickers that go out so far with the distance. Is there something you can point to over the past couple of years why it's exploded like that?
Kickers are getting better. Just like anything else, offense, defensive players are getting bigger, faster, stronger. These kickers, they started so young with all these kicking camps. They just start getting better and better, and the accuracy is getting better as we move forward. But, early on in the season, I could see that happening where it's a high percentage of makes from 50-plus because a lot of the weather is pretty nice. Not a lot of gusts. Good weather. I know it was like 92 degrees in Miami. That ball's going to travel. Things of that nature. In Seattle looks like a beautiful day. So I think that number will start to taper as the weather starts to change. But you got to give credit to these players out here. They just get better and better. Coming from high school to college, all the way up to the ranks, and they are such perfectionists. They start to understand what the wind's doing, how it changes from 40-yard line, 45 yards, 50 yards, how they can play it. So. It's kudos to the players. They're just keeping better and better. And, those field goal the field goal team, they take pride in it, making sure all three points go on it. So I think that number will start to taper down as the weather changes, but 21 and 23 is pretty impressive league-wide.
Shipley played 17 snaps, which is more than you see for most backs on special teams. What do you like about him on special teams?
Hard to find good football players. Will's a really good running back, but he's also, a team player and understands his role, being kind of that 2-3 running back. He's been doing an excellent job, playing out there on the punt team, kickoff team. He had a huge play, corralling Keyshawn Nixon, and you saw how fired up he gets. He's just one of those guys that keeps getting better and better the more reps he gets, and the guys around here love him. He comes in every day and he works. He works, catching punts, kickoffs, working the PP, tackling. It's really cool to see a rookie come in and accept his role and take it to the next level each and every week.
Has Devin White gotten much time with your units, and where do you think he fits in if he does?
Yeah, Devin does a great job. You guys seen us do those tackle circuits, and he's first in line every time. He brings great energy moving forward. Everything that he does, I commend. Great player from LSU. Works his butt off in practice, so anything, to help out the team, he's willing to do. So I'll take anything that Devin wants to give.
In terms of
decision
Jalen Tun, where is he in terms of the special teams development, and what have you seen out there?
Yeah, I think Jacob's done a really good job. I thought he had a lot of good stuff on preseason. Moving forward, and again, there's only so many people you can have up on game day, and he's just getting better and better. He's a ball of energy. He's understanding how the process works in the NFL, and he's getting better and better. So anytime, if I do have the pleasure of him being up on that game day roster, I think he's going to do an absolutely great job for us. Hard to find guys that athletic, that could run, and that physical. So again, time will tell. You never know. He could be out 1 week, then be up for the next 17 weeks. So him understanding what the NFL is like, he keeps getting better and better.
What goes into the decision to kick it into the end zone or put it in the landing zone? And is that something that Nick lets you know about? Is it his decision to let you know?
Well, we talk about it. We usually talk about it Tuesday night, what our game plan is going forward. Some of it's dependent on who the other returner is. You saw, I still have nightmares of Keyshawn Nixon from 2 years ago. So, again, I'm trying to take the ball out of his face because he is a dangerous guy and into that factor. But, again, if they want to return it 9 deep, I got to make sure the kickoff coverage team is ready to go cover. So, again, it's just talking through it, what benefits us going forward. So it's a full organizational thing where we're talking through and the communication's clear.
Is that something that could change in game even? Depending on what the score is? Or
Yeah, it could change, if the weather changes halfway through the game, you got to be understanding, like, all right, we got to put this ball somewhere, place it, maybe, use a squib kick here and there to get the timing off. So, again, everything's so fluid in special teams. You just got to be ready for everything as you move forward.
Developing more, missed some time. Is there an overlap between, Vic Fangio and you and your conversations about how he could be used in special teams to develop more to where he can be used on defense, or is it mostly just you're just trying to do what you can on special teams?
Yeah, that's like apples to oranges between defense. I'm not teaching Cooper to play cover 3 on punt return. I'm teaching him, hey, you got this guy. This is his tendencies. You got to make sure he stays away from Covey, things of that nature. So, again, we can always talk about different techniques between coaches because you learn so much. I mean, you can learn so much from Vic just talking to him. But, again, it's almost apples to oranges between defense and special teams. But we're going to keep getting Coop in there. And the more he plays, the better he's going to get. Just like anything in football, the more you play, the better you get going on time on task. So keep Coop. We're going to keep getting Coop ready as week 2 moves on against Atlanta. And just like Callan said, every week it's almost like a new season with a new game plan. So excited to see all these young guys, seeing the game plan as they move forward tomorrow.
Do you have a relationship with Marquise Williams at all? He's not quite as young as you, but one of the younger special teams guys.
Yeah, Marquise, I think we both got our starts as actual coordinators in the same year in 21. I know he was an interim in Detroit, and I've known Marquise for a long while, when he was back in San Diego. And you always stay in touch with guys that you look up to or that you come in the same year as. And me and Marquise, we're part of a text thread that we talk and everything of that nature. Then when I was down in Nashville for the accelerated program, he was down there and able to catch up with them. And special teams is such a close-knit, community that you always talk to these guys. But I have much respect for Marquise. He's got a really good unit down in Atlanta. They got a couple returners in Ray and Avery Williams that are dangerous, and they will hurt you, and they rush hard. So we got to be ready to get our pad level down and strike because this is going to be another test for us. Similar to Green Bay. I have much respect for Rich, same respect for Marquise.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike.